Hello everybody and welcome to Blue Jay Crochet. I am Michelle and this is my 10 non-yarny things about me. I was tagged by Mo from Unseen Strands and it was hard to come up with 10 non-yarny things because I don't find myself that interesting. So it took me a while to come up with some little facts and everything about myself. So the first one that I will talk about is I was born in Delano, California, but I lived 7 years from birth to 7 in Bakersfield. We had lived with my uncle. We have lived in an apartment. We had, we lived by, or on the lake, Lake Woolham's. So, yeah, we just lived in just about every situation. At the age of 7, right before my 8th birthday, my dad took my brothers and I to Mississippi to meet his biological father for the first time. And I lived there until 2 years ago. Well, over a year ago. And then we moved up here to Iowa. So, that was fun. The second thing is my husband and I. We have known each other for a while, since early or before the 2000s. My mother and father ended up divorcing, and the guy that she got together with, we would go to quinceañeras and everything, and that's where I met him for the first time. But we actually didn't get together until I was 20, and we seen each other off and on, and every time that we seen each other, he was always with somebody. But he would always talk to me and just ask how I was doing with college and things like that. So it took us a while to actually start dating. We talked for 2 weeks before I had moved in with him, which I know is quick, but we've been together for 9.5 years and married for 8.5. So it's been a whirlwind. The third thing that I would like to talk about is traveling. I have traveled all of the states from the East Coast to the West Coast: California, New Mexico, Texas, a portion of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida. So, as you know, I was born in California. We went back in 2008 for my aunt's funeral. My brother was in the Army, so we would go to Georgia to see him graduate. I've been to Florida. I've been to Destin, Florida. I've been through Texas and everything to get to California. I stayed in Texas. I used to live in Arkansas for a couple of years, and I love to travel. I've been to Kentucky. My husband travels more for his job. He's been to North Carolina, so he got to go through Ohio and things like that. We've been to Chicago. So, traveling is one of the things that we love to do as a family. The next thing is Spanish. I understand it more than I speak. I um, am half Hispanic, half white. I have 3 different kinds of Indian, which is Apache, Choctaw, and Cherokee. Um, Apache is from my mother's side. She's Hispanic, and Choctaw and Cherokee came from my dad's side. So I always get asked if I'm Asian because my eyes are smaller, and so yeah, I'm not. I'm still trying to figure out how to speak more Spanish, because I feel like with the stuff that I've had, and this will be another topic, the treatments and everything that I've had, I can't roll my R's the way that they need to be rolled for some of the words. And I don't feel like I say the words right, even though I do. So, yeah, it's one of the things that I would like to learn is speaking more Spanish. So the next topic is cancer. I was diagnosed at the age of 11. I found the lump on the side of my neck. It didn't hurt or anything, and you could see it kind of bulge out when I moved my neck a certain way. And I asked my friend, sorry, it's early. I asked my friend if she noticed it, and she said, yes, what is it? And I said, I don't know, I just now felt it. So I told my mother gave me, like, Tylenol and Advil to see if the swelling would go down. And it never did, but it never grew either. So, we had made some appointments with doctors around us to find out what it was, and we were always told that it's nothing serious, or if asked if it was cancer, children don't get cancer. So we eventually made an appointment with Arkansas Children's Hospital, and we had that biopsy done, and he told my mother before he told me over the in person, and one tear rolled down when he told me that it was cancer, and I asked him, well, what do we do next? And so we had actual surgery there, where he took out as much as he could see, and made an appointment for me to see an oncologist that was in the city that we were in for the surgery. And thankfully I didn't listen to that oncologist, because he wanted me to drink all of, like, the sodas and waters that were in this the bucket that they give you, and there was over 12, and I couldn't do it. There was no way that I was able to drink that much. So then we went to Memphis, and we didn't stay long with that doctor either. There was some uptake from one of the treatments in my the middle of my chest, and when my mother asked about it, he said that it was nothing, but she insisted on more testing on it, and it came back that it was positive. And So we ended up finding another doctor, and that was a doctor that I had stayed with for 4 or 5 years. And um, we were traveling to Kentucky to see him. And I had in total 4 surgeries, 6 to 8 treatments, because it was about 2 per year, and then I had a external beam radiation treatment, which is kind of like a MRI scan, where you lay on the bed and you go in and out of a hole, and the treatment is just based wherever you are, and they'll take x-rays, like if it needs to change or anything. One of my surgeries, the one before the last one, he told me that he thought he was going. It got to the point where he thought he would have to crack my chest open to be able to reach some of the lymph nodes, but thankfully he was able to maneuver through it, that he didn't have to. And the last surgery that I had, unfortunately he wasn't able to get anything because I had so much scar tissue that he was afraid of injuring me. So it was hectic. He told me that I had more radiation at in my teenage years than an adult could handle. So in 2010, I went to the doctor again, and I was told that I was in remission. So that was the best day, besides having my daughter. The next thing is my insecurities. I do have insecurities because just to the way that I was talked to when I was living with my mother and stepdad. Once you go through that, you don't feel like you're that you're any good for anybody, even though they should tell you otherwise. So I do have problems with that, and sometimes I push my husband to the limit, and once it all comes out, I feel a bit better, but it's definitely something that I have to work on, and I know this. The next thing is that I love to cook and bake. I just actually baked a cake the other night. I've made my daughter's birthday cake for last year, which was a Mario theme, and her cake was the little question box. And when you cut into it to cut out the slices, these little chocolate coins came out. Like, you would get coins in the game. As far as cooking, I love to try new recipes. I've made jambalaya. I've made, let's see what else. Beef and broccoli, which is one of my favorites. So anything new and things that people recommend, I'll try. I've also made Mississippi pot roast, which is really good. My husband loves it. And I even got my neighbor hooked on it. So, yeah, I'm planning on working on getting a KitchenAid mixer. That is one of the things that I've always wanted. And that I'll always want until I can get one. I love Disney movies. I try and buy them whenever they come out. But, my favorite one is I would have to say Moana. That one's definitely become my favorite. I love Hey Hey the chicken. So, um, number 9 would be my pets. I have always had a pet growing up. Cats, dogs, fish. At one time we did have a pet mouse. That my oldest brother had bought from a pet store. And why a mouse, I'm not sure. We've had a pet snake, which I loved her. She was my favorite. Even though I was terrified of snakes when we first got her. She never struck at me, but she struck at my brothers and my stepdad. Her name was Enosha. I've had her. I've had dogs, pit bulls, little Chihuahua mixes. But my favorites were my pits and my pet snake. And now we have 3 cats. One of them, I call him my guard dog because I can whistle and say, "Come here, boy," and he'll come to me like a dog, even though he's a cat. We have, and his name is Grace, and he's asleep right now in my room. And then we have Haley, which is this one. And we got her and Grayson around the same time. It was maybe a couple of months in between them. But they're American short hairs. They look like Bengals. And then we have one of her sons from her litter. She just had about a year ago. So yeah, I do want to move out of this apartment. Not anytime soon, but when everything works out for the better, because I would like to get a dog. My husband had a Rottweiler when we first got together, and he had given it to his friend to watch because it didn't like his ex-wife or girlfriend before me. So when we got her, we had to have our meeting outside just to be on the safe side. And she took to me really well. She didn't growl or anything. And then when I got pregnant with my daughter, she went from being his dog to being mine. And she wouldn't let him touch me. She wouldn't let him sit next to me. If he had his hand like on my shoulder, on my stomach, or anything like that, she would nudge her head between his hand and me so that he couldn't touch me. When he got up to leave for work in the morning, she would jump on the bed and lay on his side. So yeah, she was a good dog. And the last thing is piercings. My ears are pierced. I don't wear jewelry often. I do have a matching earring and necklace set to go with this ring. But I don't really wear the earrings or anything. And at the age of 18, I got my belly button pierced. And I did, it worked and everything, and I got pregnant. I bought a pregnancy ring, which is malleable, so you could bend it and twist it and everything. But because my stomach got so big, it actually ripped the skin that went over. It ripped it, so I wasn't able to have the belly button piercing anymore. But I plan on losing weight and toning up my stomach again. I did have a C-section with my daughter, so that, maybe one day I'll get my belly button pierced again. I don't know. I have lost some weight. I went from wearing size 22 in Gap jeans to I think they were 22. I think they're 22 in Gap jeans to a size 14 in American Eagle. I have to find jeans that are short, that say short on them, because I have short legs. So, yep. I have stopped drinking caffeine. I don't eat chocolate anymore, which is one of the hardest things to do because I love chocolate. But the caffeine was the biggest thing because I started getting insomnia and my legs at night would just tingle like crazy. And then one night it was my legs and my arms. And since I've quit caffeine or drinking soda, it hasn't happened. I did have a root beer yesterday and my stomach did not agree with it. So, that is 10 non-yarny things about me, plus some. I thank everybody for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.